wish I made everything in time to be able to say goodbye to the last day of winter and show you what you have been waiting for, the winter collection. I took up this collection back in December, when I was making the clouds in epoxy resin. After all, the eraser which I used for clouds also looks like banks of snow. So I placed it like that on the bottom. Do you remember in that video there were clouds in resin which were endlessly floating to the center? This time they are going to be our snow. And of course, no collection of mine can be without dried twigs of juniper. This pendant was almost ready and it was waiting for its fellows till February, because only now I've taken up this project again. By the way, if you don't know why and what for these pendant bases are attached to a pinched pocket, watch my video about the summer collection. There, I explain everything in details. I mix the resin according to the instruction and take up the next contour bases. Winter is about snow, and I do love snow. I dyed the resin with such dry mother-of-pearl pigment and pour some of it on the bottom. While the resin was hardening, the pigment spread evenly and left no swirls. Instead of drawing snowflakes, I will take nail stickers. I cut off those which I like most, take off the film and put the stickers into the water for a while. To unstick a snowflake, I take it out from the water and apply it on my skin, and after that I place it on the pendant. If you have some drops of water, take a tissue or a cotton stick to get rid of them. If your stickers were inside the water for a long time, they start coming off the paper on their own, so you can carefully take them out of water. I made a thin layer of resin on snowflakes, dried it up, and then I added more snowflakes. I made one more layer of resin, dried it up, and then I noticed that UV resin started to come off the base. I even managed to break it off completely. Now you see why I don't like UV resin. Well, it may be easy to work with, but still, sometimes it makes some troubles. Anyway, I had to remake the heart completely. Winter is about a skating rink cut by the blades of skates, where the ice reflects colorful lights. The first layer of the next pendant is made with epoxy resin. Then I placed on it some holographic foil for manicure. It gives an interesting effect with the play of color. When this layer of resin hardened, I began to decorate. I wanted to make a small voluminous heart, and I am glad that I had the right mold for it. To save some time, I took UV resin again and mixed some pink glitter flakes into it. I dried up with a flashlight and, just in case, do the same with the bottom. My experience has shown that this helps, even with non-transparent molds. When I demolded the heart, I dried it up again from the bottom. Well, just in case. After that, I attached the heart to the center. Winter can't be without a new year. I decided to capture the New Year celebration atmosphere on the star. I poured a thin layer of black resin into it and left it to harden. After that, you can take up the main decoration. I took different colors of such glitter flakes and began to place them like scattered confetti on the thin layer of UV resin. As UV resin hardens in a few minutes, you can make several such layers to create an effect of fireworks in the dark sky. By the way, this time I had no problems with UV resin. So how should I suppose to understand this? Winter is about patterns of frost on windows. The next contour pendant I didn't attach to a pinched pocket. Instead of this, I took some manicure foil. I've almost filmed the video about the heavenly beautiful mother of pearl. In that video I used similar technique and the result turned out pretty awesome. So I can't wait to finish filming it and share the video with you, but this time nothing went according to plan. No idea why. I simply put the contour pendant on film and casted it with thin layer of resin. Nothing out of ordinary routine. But when it was hardening, the resin turned yellow. I've never seen this before. But the film easily came off the pendant and left the pattern I needed. But the pendant must be like glass, not like amber. I made up my mind to take UV resin, but the film started going wavy like a pinched pocket because of the heat which is produced by resin while hardening. Then I decided to take a different resin, but the result was the same. Minus one idea. But the next one is mind-blowing. Only in winter, outside in the evening, you can hear such special sound of frost, and this sound of frosty night I wanted to capture into the crescent. I dyed resin in blue, although I added just a little of it, and also I mixed in black and shiny gold pigments. But the color turned out a bit green, so I started thinking something was definitely missing. So I added some more of blue, but again it didn't change anything. But then I got it. The purple pigment could change the situation. Yep, I got the color combination I had desired. Super! Leaving it to harden. I've recently bought such crystals for manicure. Well, you know, anything we can use for manicure, we can also use in most kinds of handiwork. From now on, let's interpret it like this. These crystals are transparent, so I was super curious how they would look like in resin. I made a thin layer of UV resin and placed these crystals on it. And I liked the created effect so much that I decided to dry this resin up without adding anything else. A bit later I noticed that it looked a little like a half of an amethyst. I was extremely pleased with such an effect. In the next pendant, I wanted to make a Christmas bauble. I dyed epoxy resin with such a dye. This glitter is perfect to be our snow. While the resin was still liquid, I added some twigs of juniper. To complete the decoration when the resin would harden, I cut off a simple thread and tied a knot. Its shape turned out great. Such a method could give the most unpredictable knots. And with a tiny drop of resin, I attached it to the twig. The toy itself will have a bauble shape, and in this case, the same silicone mold will help me. First, I poured some resin into it and let it harden, so it would get the shape of a bauble. Then I took quite a lot of dry pigments for such an amount of resin. Because of this, it was hardening for so long and much worse. That is the reason why I made that first transparent layer. It would cover my pigments even if they hadn't completely hardened. Well, this layer would be like a safety glass. To make such swirls, I slightly stirred the pigments. The bauble didn't turn out very smooth, but the following cast will fix it. I attach it and, of course, don't forget about the little metal thingy on the top. And the twig itself I decided to make richer. I also had some resin left from the first heart pendant, so I decided to use it in this pill. I wanted to achieve the contrast of cold and hot by using typical blue and red. I didn't have any red dye. It was in the other drawer, and I recalled it only now. Well, forget it. I forgot about it that time, so I took such fur for nails to intensify the meaning of warmth by this fur. Out of glitter flakes, I made a filling of the peel. But it occurred to me too late that I needed to make it not in the center, like extremely in the center, because the peel is going to be hung vertically. I should have done it like the filling of the peel is lying on the bottom parts. But no. After that, I casted all the pendants except the crescent with resin, because I think the epoxy resin is more secure. I tried casting the drop again, but it was just a waste of the foil and the total fail of the idea, which had all chances to be stunning. Winter is about many other things. We can actually make a long list of all the fascinating moments and things of this time of a year. Write in the comments why do you like winter or what is winter for you. Maybe it's not your favorite season at all. Or you can write what was memorable for you this winter. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. I love you this much. Bye.